Well, hello, and welcome to the Hornback podcast. This is episode number 7, if you're keeping up. And we've had some volume issues on previous podcasts, and I'm thinking, because of what I'm hearing, that we've got those ironed out. So, appreciate those of you that have been with us now through episodes 6, and now we're on 7. This one is actually being recorded on Thanksgiving Day, November the 20... I believe it's the 25th, maybe the 26th of 2020, the year that America became grateful. So that's what we're going to talk about this Thanksgiving, is we're going to talk about this year and the fact that this Thanksgiving has really become the year that we become grateful for what we've got. It's been an interesting year. It started out normal, January, February. Then in March, obviously, everything kind of came apart. We were closed down in April and May. June, July, August, we kind of began to get our footing back under us, and then we started in September really trying to put this all back together. And October, November has been pretty rough here in East Tennessee. And it's still going to be interesting to see what happens after Thanksgiving. On a somber note, a very good friend of mine lost his father at age 93 on Halloween. And this morning, his mother-in-law passed away. We're not sorrowful they passed away because we know where they've gone. We know that they're believers in Christ, and we know that they're in heaven. And that's not something for those of us that are Christian. That's not something to be sorrowful or sorry for the loss on earth that we will experience because we won't have them anymore. This particular lady, I will tell a quick story. Is just she was a very godly woman. She was a prayer warrior. When I ran for school board in the year 2000, her husband was running for property assessor in Knox County, he'd been in the property assessor's office for a great number of years. And here I was on my second campaign, 10 years apart, by the way. I ran in 1990 at the age of 23. I think I've told that story before. And challenged a 23-year incumbent and came within 112 votes of unseating the 23-year incumbent. And, obviously, I'd been married for a couple of years, and we had one son, and we made the move to West Knoxville in 92, and I continued to stay active in politics in Knox County, but we didn't decide to run for public office again until 99, 2000, run for school board. And one evening, I called to talk to John Whitehead, see what I'm talking about. Called to talk to him, and he was still out campaigning. So I got to talk to his wife, Levera, who is the one that passed away this morning. And in that conversation, I was just talking to her and said, y'all are okay. I felt like, and to be honest with you, I don't even remember who he ran against in the Republican primary in 2000. And I said, I think you're okay. I feel good about my race, but, I'm not 100% sure. And she made a comment. She said, I pray for you every day. And that, I can tell you exactly where I was standing in my house at the time she said that. And I've always remembered that. Unfortunately, I don't know that I ever told her that story. In her living years, but now I'm telling it here on the Hornback podcast. we know that she's gone on. Two of her sons had gone on before her, and so she's with them now and with her mother. And it's that's a great reunion. But for those of us here on Earth, we'll certainly miss Levera Whitehead for sure. But anyway, tell that story. It didn't really come on the podcast with the idea of telling that story. I just came on today to talk about the fact that 2020 has been such a difficult year that, as I looked at Thanksgiving, my light just went out for those of you that are watching on YouTube. But for those of you, 2020 has been a year where we've really been challenged. We've been challenged in what we think about our government, what we think about our own personal views, what we think about everything, really. That's what 2020 has been for many of us, is made us second guess a lot of things. But as Thanksgiving became closer and closer to being reality this week, it made me realize that, I'm really fortunate to live where I live. I'm really fortunate to have the friends that I have, to have the family that I have, to have the roof over my head that I have, that my kids were educated in a school or school system that they were. And, so I hope as we close this Thanksgiving 2020 and we prepare to look to 2021, that we take this time, that we not only do this once a year, one day a year, but we do this on a daily practice, that we look at what we're more thankful for, the life and the blessings that we have, and that's what makes us what we are. So with that, that's kind of my Thanksgiving 2020 spiel, and just be thankful for what we've got. This forum that I started 16 years ago on the internet, BrianHornback.com. I mean, when it started on August the 9th of 2004, it was really, as I've told you before, I started it just as an opportunity for me to have a outlet, and it's grown to be what it is today, and it's grown in readers. It's grown in impact in our community and across the region, across the state, really. And I don't say that to brag about it. I don't say that to say anything other than, I realize that I'm blessed, that it's an avenue that God's given me for this season. And now the podcast is another venue to continue to be an outlet to engage our community. The biggest problem I think we have in this community, across this county, across this state, across this country, is the fact that too many people just haven't really, they just go about their daily life. They work, they pay their bills, at least the ones that they can, and they don't really get engaged in the process. And I hope that that's what my approach, my reach will allow, is that people will look at becoming engaged, becoming to look at the issues that are going on in our community, and we'll get engaged. If that means voting, fantastic. If that means talking to your neighbors about what's going on in our community, fantastic. Whatever that looks like for you, is what I hope my reach will do for you. I hope that talking about issues like the mask mandates, it's been a big issue in Knox County since July, when the Knox County Board of Health implemented a mask mandate, And now we're seeing that Claiborne County and Granger County have implemented mask mandates. Roane County to our west has implemented a mask mandate. So, and even in Claiborne County, the Tazewell Police Department right now is not responding to non-emergency calls. In the grand scheme of things, whether you're for mask, against mask, don't really care about masks. I just hope that you'll show respect to people, that you'll be kind, and I wear a mask. I think it's important. This pandemic has touched so many different lives. For me personally, I think I've talked about my friend Bill Collier, 59 years old, worked at Oak Ridge National Laboratory, contracted the virus in August, and by October, passed away. I'm not sorrowful. Sorrowful that I won't be able to talk to my friend again, but I know where he's at. I just hope that as we continue to deal with this until we get a vaccine, that we can all just chill out, that we can, those folks that have medical exclusions that don't wear a mask, I hope that we'll recognize that they're not just being a pain and not wanting to wear a mask, but the fact that they have a reason not to wear a mask, and that we'll keep 6 to 12 feet of distance from those folks. It's just an unfortunate situation. Our country has become so divided, and people will say, well, that's your party, the Republican Party, and they're right. And others will say it's the Democrat Party, and they're right. And others will say that it's people that have an agenda to be seen, to be heard, for whatever reason. And you know what, they're right. Everybody's got an agenda. I think when you're involved in the arena of public opinion, the arena of public policy, you have an agenda. What do you want to do with your agenda? Is it to educate people? Is it to motivate people to get involved? Or are you wanting attention on yourself? Or do you really just want people to think? That's what we've got to do. Is everybody wants to be heard, and we've got to be able to hear people without placing some bias on that. And so that's my message for Thanksgiving. And I hope that as we proceed, the greatest thing I think for this Thanksgiving 2020 was because of what's happened. Walmart, our largest retail customer in North America, closed their stores today. That was fantastic because a lot of other big box stores did the same thing. A lot of grocery stores did the same thing that they normally wouldn't do. I hope companies will begin to see that. And I think, look at the Chick-fil-A model. Chick-fil-A's open 6 days a week, and they're still the number one fast food chain in North America. And so, hey, it's worked for Chick-fil-A, and I hope that people will. Well, I understand you got to go out and you got to buy Christmas, and I was in that. And when my kids were younger, I needed to go get the newest toy and get it at the best price I could and track it down. And I understand that, okay? But the good news is that we're not going to have the Thanksgiving night fights and brawls and people, 5,000 people crammed into one Walmart tonight. So when you go about your Christmas shopping tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday, just be kind, be nice, and let's all have a better, let's set this thing up to have a better Christmas, have a better winter season, and then get into the new year and get 2020 out of here and start toward 2021. All right, that's episode 7 of the Brian Hornback podcast. Just kind of rambled a little bit, but hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back soon with episode 8, and y'all have a great time.